Welcome to The Synthetic Lens. I'm David Carver, and this is the show where we cut through the noise to understand the forces reshaping our world. Today, February 13th, 2026, and honestly, the AI industry just had one of its most consequential 24 hours in recent memory. We've got three massive stories to unpack. Anthropic just closed the largest private funding round in AI history. Google dropped a reasoning model that's rewriting what we thought was possible, and OpenAI is betting on speed over size with a brand new coding model. Marcus Chen is here to break down the tech, and Ingrid Halvorsen is joining us on the economics. Marcus, let's start with you. Anthropic, $30 billion, Series G, $380 billion valuation. What are we looking at here? David, this is staggering, even by AI industry standards. Anthropic has more than doubled its valuation since its Series F last September, when it was valued at $183 billion. This new round was led by Singapore's sovereign wealth fund, GIC, along with Coatue Management, and co-led by D.E. Shaw Ventures, Peter Thiel's Founders Fund, Abu Dhabi's MGX, and Dragoneer. You've also got Excel, General Catalyst, Jane Street, and the Qatar Investment Authority piling in. This is not just Silicon Valley money anymore. This is global sovereign capital flowing into a single AI company. Ingrid, what does the investor composition tell you?
It tells me this round is as much about geopolitics as it is about technology. When you see GIC, MGX, and the Qatar Investment Authority in the same cap table, these are nations making strategic bets on AI infrastructure. Singapore, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, they're positioning themselves as essential nodes in the AI supply chain. And the numbers are frankly astonishing. $30 billion in a single private round. To put that in context, that's larger than the GDP of over half the countries on Earth. And Anthropic's $380 billion valuation, that's approaching the market cap of companies like Coca-Cola or Chevron, for a company that's barely 3 years old.
And here's the thing that's easy to miss. This is happening while OpenAI is reportedly trying to close a $100 billion round that will value them at $830 billion. We are in a full-blown AI capital arms race. The question is no longer whether these companies can build impressive models. The question is whether any of them can generate revenue at a scale that justifies these valuations.
Anthropic's CFO Krishna Rao said in the announcement that Claude is becoming, quote, increasingly critical to how businesses work. Do you buy that, Marcus?
I think there's truth to it. Claude has carved out a real niche, especially in enterprise. The Claude Opus 4 series has been genuinely impressive. But let's be honest, $30 billion is a bet on the future, not the present. Anthropic reportedly needs massive compute build-outs to stay competitive. A significant chunk of this money is going straight to GPU clusters and training runs. This is infrastructure spending, not profit.
All right, let's pivot to our second story because Google just made a very loud statement about where reasoning AI is headed. Marcus, walk us through Gemini 3 DeepThink.
So Google announced a major upgrade to their Gemini 3 DeepThink model yesterday, and the benchmarks are, I have to say, genuinely jaw-dropping. Let me give you the numbers. 84.6% on ARC AGI-2, verified by the ARC Prize Foundation. That's the abstract reasoning corpus. It tests whether a model can generalize to novel tasks it has never seen before. Humans average about 60% on these puzzles. Previous AI models struggled to break 20%. DeepThink nearly doubles human performance.
Hold on, 84.6 versus 60 for humans? That's a significant gap.
It is, and it's why some people are asking the AGI question. But there's more. On Codeforces, the competitive programming platform, DeepThink scored an ELO of 3455. That puts it in the legendary Grandmaster tier, a level reached by a tiny fraction of human programmers globally. And on Humanity's Last Exam, which is specifically designed to be questions that are easy for domain experts but nearly impossible for AI, it scored 48.4% without any external tools. That's a new high watermark.
Marcus, what's the business model here? Because these are research benchmarks. How does Google monetize a model that solves math conjectures?
Great question. DeepThink is available exclusively to Google's AI Ultra subscribers. That's the premium tier. Google is using this as a flagship to drive subscriptions, but the real play is enterprise. DeepMind's blog post specifically highlighted agentic coding and autonomous scientific research. They reported that Gemini 3 Pro showed 35% higher accuracy in resolving software engineering challenges. They want this in every research lab and every engineering team on the planet.
And Ingrid, from a competitive standpoint, what does this do to the landscape?
It complicates the narrative significantly. We just talked about Anthropic raising $30 billion, but Google has something none of these startups have. It has distribution. It has a cloud platform with millions of enterprise customers. It has search. It has Android. When Google improves a model, it can deploy it to billions of users overnight. Anthropic and OpenAI have to fight for every customer. Google just has them.
That's a really important point. All right, third story. OpenAI is going in a completely different direction. Marcus, tell us about GPT 5.3 Spark.
So this is fascinating because it's the opposite philosophy from DeepThink, where Google is saying, let the model think longer and harder. OpenAI is saying, make it faster. GPT 5.3 Codex Spark is a smaller, distilled variant of the full Codex model, specifically optimized for real-time conversational coding. And when they say fast, they mean it. 15 times faster code generation than the standard Codex model, 80% faster round-trip latency, 50% faster time to first token. And here's the hardware story. It's running on Cerebras WSE3 chips, the wafer-scale engines. This is the first fruit of the OpenAI Cerebras partnership announced back in January.
So instead of waiting 30 seconds for a code block, you're getting it in 2?
Exactly. The idea is conversational coding. You're talking to the model like a pair programmer. You say, add error handling to this function, and it responds almost instantly. The previous Codex models were more batch-oriented. You'd submit a task and wait. Spark is designed to feel like a real-time conversation. OpenAI calls it a research preview, and it's currently limited to their $200 a month Pro tier.
I find this strategically interesting because it reveals a different theory about what developers actually want. Google is betting on depth. Let the AI think for minutes to solve a hard problem perfectly. OpenAI is betting on speed. Give developers instant feedback so they stay in flow state. These are fundamentally different product philosophies.
And there's a trade-off. OpenAI acknowledges that Spark is less capable than the full Codex model on complex tasks. It's a smaller model. You're trading raw intelligence for speed. The question is whether that trade-off is worth it for the majority of coding tasks. And I think for most day-to-day development work, writing boilerplate, refactoring, debugging, speed might actually matter more than peak capability.
So let me try to tie all three of these threads together. We have Anthropic raising $30 billion to fund what is essentially an AI infrastructure build-out. We have Google flexing its research muscles with a reasoning model that's outperforming humans on abstract intelligence tests. And we have OpenAI making a bet that speed and accessibility are the path to developer loyalty. Ingrid, what's the meta-narrative here?
The meta-narrative is that we're entering a phase of strategic differentiation. For the past 2 years, the AI race felt like a single dimension: who has the biggest, smartest model. Now we're seeing these companies place very different bets. Anthropic is betting on safety and enterprise trust. Google is betting on reasoning depth and distribution. OpenAI is betting on speed and developer ecosystem. And the capital flowing in, $30 billion here, $100 billion there, tells you that investors believe multiple winners are possible. This isn't a winner-take-all market yet, but the stakes are getting so high that any misstep could be fatal.
And I'd add one more thing. The hardware story is becoming just as important as the model story. OpenAI partnering with Cerebras for inference, Google running DeepThink on its own TPU infrastructure, Anthropic spending billions on compute. We're past the era where a clever algorithm could win. This is now a capital-intensive, vertically integrated industry, and that favors the incumbents.
Marcus Chen, Ingrid Halverson, thank you both. That's going to do it for today's episode of The Synthetic Lens.
3 stories, 1 message. The AI industry is diverging, and the bets being placed right now will determine who shapes the next decade of technology. I'm David Carver. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and we'll see you next time.